Welcome back, everybody. This is Oogie Boogie Bash 2024. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what's new. There's some new things, not very many things, but there's a couple new things. And more importantly, we're going to talk about why we did not attend the event this year, at least the first night. We always kind of go, usually the first night.
Yeah, usually opening night, that's like the time we would go. But we just have a lot to talk about, our decision and how we ended up where we are. And, because I think a lot of people ask us, so we figured it's better to do a video, and then we can kind of give you like our thoughts and reviews of, what some of the new additions are this year.
We do have footage of that stuff, of the new stuff, so we thought, let's talk about it.
In the name of Oogie Boogie, we got to do it.
Represent, I just realized that you're wearing
I still haven't pulled out all of our Halloween stuff from last year, Well, we have like our shirts and all of our stuff that we would wear to the parks. My ears are out and my hat, but all of our Halloween merch I don't have.
Well, to be fair, it's still August, and I know that
it was earlier this year.
Each year it creeps in sooner and sooner. Mm-hmm. But we just got back from our trip, our lake trip to Tahoe, or our trip to Lake Tahoe, however you want to put it. And so, I'm still in summer mode, and they did launch. A week earlier this year?
No, 2 or
at least 2.
So.
It feels like a lot
maybe
earlier.
Even sooner. I don't know, but it definitely has been earlier.
So it kind of caught me off guard a little bit, and so that's why we haven't gotten any of our stuff out. I'm feeling a little, it's weird. I feel like, I'm behind it. All the stuff's coming out at Home Depot and everywhere and stuff, and it's no, it's just earlier every year, and which makes sense. It's fine.
Well, actually, comparatively to as far as stores are concerned, I was looking at the timeline of our videos last year. That's kind of all on par.
Oh, it's the same.
It's the Disney stuff combined. That normally the Disney stuff comes after.
Got it.
And then normally we go to Tahoe kind of a little bit more in the beginning of September, so our timeline was a little bit screwy too.
Yeah.
So we haven't even started working on that Tahoe video. We looked at our footage and there was
it's daunting.
Tons of footage. So we will get that out soon, but that's not what this video is about. We are going to talk about Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah.
Some new things for this year. Let's start off with that.
Yeah.
I am going to try so hard to pronounce this, and I'm going to mess it up. I have read it 15 times. But from Phineas and Ferb, they have a new character for Oogie Boogie Bash 2024, Doofenshmirtz. Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I'm going to say Dr. D. Okay.
Might as well give him his title.
Yeah, Dr. D. That's what he's going to be for me.
There you go.
So that is one of the new characters that was added to a treat trail this year.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, can't say that I'm a huge fan. It looks kind of crazy.
He reminds me of a Conehead from SNL.
I think a lot of people were saying that it would have been better if they would have had the fully masked version as opposed to the prosthetics. I think that might have looked better. But again, I don't know the character. I don't know any of that reference, so I don't want to judge it other than just on the looks and not knowing anything.
You want to talk about not knowing? Is it animated or is it?
It's an animated feature.
Okay.
I do know that.
You could kind of tell that it was an interpretation of animation, because it was kind of weird looking.
Yeah, as opposed to some other things that are real life. Because Cruella was from a real life adaptation thing.
Correct.
So it's just different like that. Oh, our squirrel friend was just behind us.
His name
briefly.
is Scott.
Yes, Scott the squirrel.
Yeah.
So that was one of the new ones. The other new one, though, that I think is a 10 out of 10 was Hades. They added Hades. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
The fact that his hair glows, and he's great. Honestly, I feel like Hades should have been there a while back, but
it's a long time coming, but arrived, and with those effects, I think that's really the draw. That's really neat.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because that's actually a character in an animated movie that I'm familiar with, but it looks amazing. I feel like if we did go this year, that would be one of my highlights. Okay, now we're going to answer the question, are we even going to Oogie Boogie Bash this year, which I feel like it was implied. No, we're not. And we're going to tell you about why we didn't and our thoughts about it.
Right.
Just kind of get into it as a little discussion. So, like I said, we are not going this year. We made that decision a while back. We made it well before tickets went on sale.
True. I mean, I was going to say, you have to make the decision a while back in order, even if you want to go at all, but even prior to, that crunch time when there's only a few days you have to to make
Not even days. I feel like those tickets
that
sell
one day,
out
right?
really fast.
Right.
Well, I think Magic Keys had a pre-sale, I think.
That's what I mean about 2 days, I guess.
Yeah,
That's,
right. Because if you miss the Magic Key opportunity, you could go with the general public.
Right.
That's what you're
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the reason pretty much for us was pretty simple, that there wasn't anything new. We just talked about what was new. And how many times have we been to Oogie Boogie? I think
We've been several times. There was several years that we've gone more than once. Like we would go twice. We would kind of go
most
by
years
ourselves.
we'd gone twice at
and
least.
then we would go with my niece and my nephew.
Right.
So yeah, we've done that a few times. The other thing that is new though, that I guess we do need to give credit to, they did give bigger bags this year. Cast members that we know that attended on cast member preview, that was one of the highlights they made sure to tell us, is like, hey, by the way, the bags are bigger.
Yeah.
My tip still stands though, if you're trying to get lots of candy, when you're at World of Disney, bring your own, or go to World of Disney and they have those, I think I showed them in our merch search, but they have those bags, they're like $5 or $6. They're adorable.
Yeah.
Probably like a full, tote.
It's a
reusable
tote.
Yeah, it's like a good tote. And again, $5 or $6, and it's got the whole Halloween motif on it. So I'll be still giving those to my niece and nephews.
And you're on brand, and it's
yeah. So that was the major reason, is there was nothing like new enough to draw us in to go. If you haven't gone before, we just want to make that extremely clear. If you haven't gone before, or you're kind of on the fence about it, honestly, I think it's worth it. It's a wonderful event. If you're really into the Halloween thing, if you're really wanting to get candy, if you really want to see the Frightfully Fun parade, it's worth it. So it's just, is it worth it to return and return and return again for $100 and something plus? For us, I would say no.
Yeah, I think this year, as far as doing that same thing so many times, like we've hit kind of a saturation point where, maybe next year we'll go back, but we just kind of were like, this year we just weren't feeling it, because of that. We had nothing to get really excited about. And we want to do some other things this year that we haven't really talked about yet on the channel, but, it was one or the other. And we were like, I don't know, I kind of want to do this other thing we're talking about doing.
Yeah, I think too with the house, we'd almost want to spend, say that's like what, $350? I don't know, I'm just throwing out a random number. Say it's that's how much we would spend. I don't know.
Right.
We would almost rather spend that on, getting maybe some more new decorations for the house, or doing some work to the house, because it's, it's a labor of love, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that was kind of a discussion we had. It was like, and it was also more money we could spend in Tahoe.
Right.
There's other Halloween events that, we like to go to. So, like last year, we missed out on Nights of the Jack.
Right.
Because we were like, well, let's do this instead. And now it's like, I really want to kind of go back and do that.
Well, like I was saying earlier, though, it's the kind of thing where sometimes you take a break and then go back to something.
You revisit.
Yeah. And so we kind of rotate things like that. Like we didn't go to, like you said, Nights of the Jack last year, or maybe even the year prior. I don't even know. But
I don't remember. I was going to say it's kind of.
There's so many things that it's worth it to kind of rotate a certain amount of them. Like there's certain ones that we always do.
Yeah.
Right, but then we kind of rotate some of the other ones.
Like, I don't know if we went to Not Scary Farm last year. I don't think we did.
No, we went to the preview thing.
Which was cool.
Right, and for us, I think it kind of satisfied it for us. We were like, oh yeah, then we got our knots in.
That was cool.
I think we want, like most people, we look for our certain way that we want to consume it, and we got it tenfold that night. We're like, oh, that was great. That was exactly the stuff that, because I like Ghost Town really.
Me too.
And a few of the mazes, but like I'm really into how they haunt Ghost Town. That's all I really go for. It's so sad, but
and the log ride, we love the log ride.
And the log ride, yeah. But
because of that hootenanny, whatever it is.
I almost feel like that's part of Ghost Town a little bit. It's like an extension,
bit, huh?
right? So that's why we didn't go to the full thing. But this year we didn't go to that. So we'll probably go to the full thing.
Yeah, and then I think that's another thing. We always want to like kind of manage your expectations as the viewer. We're not that channel that'll go and like do every single maze and what's new for if we get to something that's new, cool.
Yeah.
But we just kind of go with the flow and see what's fun and kind of do it like that. Sometimes we're more into the food. Sometimes we're more into just seeing like one maze. So I don't have any hard set plans.
Right.
But I just try and let you know that we really do just kind of do whatever we want to do, and that's the reality of it. And I feel like in a good way that's kind of relatable for you, because maybe that's you want to see, hey, this is how they did it. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I do, you know. So hopefully that's where it works out.
It also comes down to, you know, what kind of experience are you looking to have? Are you going to go there and, you know, your goal is to hit everything and all that stuff? That's awesome. Not everybody has that goal. Sometimes people want to kind of do a dabble of this, a dabble of that, a little bit, and I've experienced the entire event, as opposed to if I'm only doing mazes, I might miss the stage show or the who knows. I don't know. I'm just saying we kind of do more of the dabble of, like, we like to just see what's going on with everything and then pick and choose what we think is awesome. And I think that relates to a lot of people, like you're saying, because we think like a lot of folks and vice versa, and, you know, we get that kind of feedback of like, oh yeah, we do the same things you guys do. We like to go to do this and we like to go do that. So yeah, I think it's relatable to do it the way we do it.
Yeah, and then there are people like, and that's why I always say, especially around Halloween time, I think in every backyard talking video we do, we bring him up, but I always bring up Dylan from Theme Park Obsession. He's like one of our best friends, but he's like the Halloween king. He does it, honestly, he does it best. He does it thoroughly. He does it honestly. And that's something that I really like value with him, especially when it comes to haunts like that. But the reason I'm bringing him up right now is because he's going to be that person that's going to do every single thing. He's going to do it multiple times, and he's going to look at it from like a direction of how things are decorated. What does stuff that we may look at and appreciate, but he's going to.
Got the hummingbirds.
I know there was there. If you see us glancing this way, it's because there's so many hummingbirds over there.
But he covers it comprehensively from the standpoint of, you know, how these things are done, kind of the behind the scenes to what you're seeing.
And he's been a scare actor at HHN over in Universal Studios Hollywood for years. So
he has a vast knowledge of that industry and how, and literally being on the inside of it. So his opinion and his knowledge is valuable. So being on the inside of it, he's not just a consumer, but he is a consumer and a player on the inside.
So if you are looking for that, check out Theme Park Obsession, and I feel like you'll be happy. You will get every ounce of anything you could want. He does all the haunts for the most part.
He's obsessed.
So he's obsessed. So that was our plug, but it's also true. Again, we really try to just be our authentic selves and tell you the truth of how we feel. If you were sitting here in our backyard right now and we were having a discussion about Halloween, Oogie Boogie Bash, this is genuinely what we would tell you.
Right.
But if you are going to Oogie Boogie Bash this year, 2024, like I said, we're not going because there's nothing really too new to appeal to us. Honestly, the big candy bags, though, that's kind of great, and Hades. But even though it's repetitive for us, there's still great things to do there. One of the highlights for me, I love the little parade. That Frightfully Fun parade is just so cute. You got Mickey and Minnie. I feel like it's a good chance to see Mickey and Minnie, the Headless Horseman. Your favorite part is always the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, well, the Haunted Mansion part is pretty extensive. You've got the hitchhiking ghosts up there, you know, on the float doing their thing, and it's just a really well done float. Like, they're small floats, but they're really well done.
Yeah, it's like a very villainous, spectacular thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just such a fun little highlight. I truly wish it was something that was available to everybody in Disneyland.
Yeah, it really.
But
because we had someone ask us at Disneyland, which was the first day of Oogie Boogie, and we were there. But we were at Disneyland, and somebody said, "Oh, is there a parade that they have over here
for Halloween?"
For Halloween, and we were like,
just the cavalcades."
Actually, no, there's not. Yeah, so it's a bummer that there's not maybe just a stripped down version or something. I don't know.
It would be cool to see something like that.
I feel the same way about Christmas time, but that's a whole nother conversation. But the fact that the floats and the villains are most of them represented, it's really neat. Yeah, if there's not one up there that you're not a fan of, I don't know I think they have all of them represented. It's really cool.
So many. It's awesome. It's a highlight. The other treat trails that we really love every year, the Oogie Boogie treat trail that's over in the, I guess it's called technically the Animation Academy area there,
the
I
big
think.
movie theater looking building there.
My brain kind of goes foggy sometimes. I'm like, what is it called again? But I love seeing Oogie Boogie. I feel like that's because it's Oogie Boogie Bash, and that line never is horrible that we've experienced.
No, that line moves so fast, probably the most fast moving, and you can do it multiple times. I suggest it, and all the screens everywhere, and
it's super cool.
And you get really close to Oogie Boogie, and he totally interacts with you. He sees you and messes with you, and it's really cool. Love that room, and especially on the years that it's hot. It's nice in there. The
one that's definitely not there that I read or saw, I guess, is Cruella. Cruella got replaced, I think, by Hades or the Dr. D. I don't remember which one, but Cruella was really cute, and I'm really sad that one's not there. It looks like Dr. Doom is still there. He's the one from Roger Rabbit's. And then I think the other one that I'm glad they kept was Ernesto de la Cruz. I think that one is another top tier. I wouldn't miss that one if I had a breakdown. He is definitely like top tier. I think his whole getup is great. I love that he'll like stop and kind of break out into song. He's like, again, I feel like that's one I wouldn't miss. We also have Mother Gothel. I think they might not have Maleficent anymore, but Mother Gothel is still there from Tangled, really great. I think Agatha, which again, I don't know anything about Agatha, but we saw her at a Mim, and of course there's other ones. There's Sid over in Pixar area, so that's really cool. Sid was a fun one to see, but I think Oogie Boogie Bash treat trails, they're great. They give out lots of good candy, and they even give out some healthy snacks. One of the major highlights, though, every year for us is Villains Grove.
Villains Grove it came around a few years back, and was a great addition. Jordan and the team that spearheaded that whole thing, it's always a stunner. And that's one thing I missed, seeing from this year. And they got the candelabras and all it's well done. And
it's an in-person experience that I think is so cool, because the one thing, if I could give you a tip about going through Villains Grove, is don't just fly through there, because each little scene does a thing.
You have to let each scene develop. It's really neat, and it's on a really different level for Disney.
It's more abstract.
It's
almost
very abstract, and there's sound and there's visual, and you feel like you're in a different world over there. It's really neat. They did such a good job. We always tell people, do not miss that if you are going to Oogie Boogie Bash, because even if you've been multiple times, like, it's a must every time. And I always say it's the finish. You finish with that.
We always do that pretty much last end of the night. The only thing, now again, we were talking about there's not enough that's different for this year, right? So what are some things that would kind of have drawn us in this year to go, ooh, let's go back? We're not really big on the photo ops. So now if you are, maybe some different photo ops would be cool. We loved the little Sanderson sisters one, but that line was over an hour. And
the party's
4 hours, 3 hours, something like that.
4 hours.
Not cool.
You're gonna waste 1/4 of your party for one photo. So
which, if it's valuable to you, great. But for us, it was like, oh my gosh, heck no. Especially when we had kids, they were not about to sit there and do that.
No.
But now, again, going back to like what would be different enough to draw us in, and I think Villains Grove is a great example. I would love to see that either expanded, maybe add some other villains, like, or maybe do a couple changes there. I feel like that would be...
Do a scene swap, you know what I mean?
A couple of those, just to see something that's kind of new for this year and go and... that would actually draw me in to go and experience something new for this year. Also, something that might have drawn me in is possibly... Maybe instead of like the Frightfully Fun parade, I would have loved to see that go over to Disneyland, and maybe a new parade. I feel like that, maybe something that's maybe all Nightmare Before Christmas, or do you know what I'm saying? Like, do something a little bit different show-wise. Even World of Color. Do you remember they used to do? And it wasn't that great. It was like a villain-themed. Remember that year we saw it from under the swings.
Yeah, kind of this profile view.
And I remember going like, it wasn't that great, but like Disney has the capability now, like to do even better, I think. So I feel like show-wise, that could have been enough to make me go like, oh, let's spend the money, let's do that.
Yeah. I also feel like, you know how at Universal and or Knott's, there's kind of just, in certain areas, there's people just roaming around. They're not set up for a photo op. They're not traveling to a photo op and you're catching a photo along the way. They're literally there as atmosphere. They move around. They don't really stay in one spot.
Yeah.
They're not stopping to take photos. They're just literally characters that are reacting and interacting and all that stuff.
That would actually be really cool.
Just here and there. And I know probably the problem would be that, you know, Disney fans are used to being able to take photos and they would try to stop the movement a little bit, maybe, I don't know, and try to, like, you know, do the selfie thing or something.
Yeah.
But I just think that everything is so controlled and everything's a line. Everything's a, you know, so it would be neat to just have a little bit of
atmosphere characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be a good one. But again, these are just things that we're saying that we would like to see as somebody who's gone multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, again, if you haven't gone and you're really into, you know, maybe photo ops, or you're really into seeing rare characters, or you really want a chance to collect candy and do treat trails, please go. Don't, like, we're not trying to say don't go because we really like it.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is from the stance of repeat offenders. So I really like it, though, and I'm not feeling sad that we missed this year because they have that 3-day ticket deal. My niece ended up getting that, and for this almost the same price as maybe a ticket, if I'm not mistaken, she gets to go 3 times. And you have to remember, so many of those things, minus the treat trails and the parade, almost all of those things she can do with a regular park ticket.
True.
So you have to really look at that value too, and I think that's like a good topic to talk about with your family, because if you're a SoCal resident and you could get that 3-day ticket. So how do you feel? Do you feel like you kind of like regret not going this year, or do you think like it'll maybe make you more excited for next year's? Like, how do you feel?
I'm not having any regret. You know, I saw those new characters and I was like, okay, you know, I don't, when I think about it, based on kind of how we were this year going into it, I don't think that would have been enough to sell me to go.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not having any regret. I'm just more excited about this other stuff we're going to be doing, because we want to be excited when we do stuff and we don't want to fake it. We would have kind of had to go in there and just been like, yay, it's the same. Like, you know, we want to be excited genuinely. Yeah, no regrets.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, though, is like, I don't want to show up to something and not be 150% excited, because it's not to say that we wouldn't be happy and grateful to be there and excited,
right?
But would we be at the level of 150%?
We're just not actors.
No.
It's limiting as far as, you know, what you can do in 4 hours, whereas going to Disneyland a billion times, you can't really compare that because, like
it's
I said,
kind of different.
There's so much to do, and there's so many angles.
We know we're always going to get, for the most part, new Jolly Holiday treats. So, like, the tradition of going there and doing that, we still got to do the same tradition, but it was different.
Right.
Even, you know, going on Haunted Mansion Holiday, there's a new gingerbread house.
Correct.
So you're still getting to do the tradition, but there is a little bit of a new twist for the year. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing the same thing repetitive over. Some people love to do that, and more power to you.
Oh, of course.
Again, we just want to be authentic to how we are and how we feel.
That's right. And with that said, we hope that if you go to Oogie Boogie Bash, that you have a blast and you get a ton of candy, because
lots of candy.
Yeah, I want to hear stories of sore backs from lugging
mountains of candy,
huge bales of candy back to Mickey and Friends parking structure. Hope you guys enjoyed the little retrospective and, you know, why we didn't go this year, why we're not going, and look forward to a lot of fun Halloween stuff coming from Best Life and Beyond. We are very excited for the season. Thank you to our Patreons. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, you guys. Bye-bye, everybody.